Welcome to JazzTime.com. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online. If you want to know the price of the watch, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate it if you buy a watch from JazzTime.com once in a while. Today we'll be reviewing the newly updated Submariner. This is the Rolex Submariner Kermit. This is the model number 126610LV. We'll be going over the dial, bezel, case, crown, bracelet, clasp, and we'll talk about the movement towards the end of the video. Alright, so jumping right into the dial here, you can see beautiful black style dial as you would typically expect from a Rolex watch. Just going to move this hand out of the way here for a second. So, your typical Rolex dial, black dial, white text with the Rolex name, the Rolex crown logo at the 12 o'clock position with the Oyster Perpetual Date text underneath. The 6 o'clock position, you can see that the Submariner name as, there. The 1,000 feet or 300 meters, which is the water resistance, and a superlative chronometer or officially certified text on there as well. So nice contrasting from the white on black to make it much easier to read. So specifically for this configuration is not a new style configuration, unfortunately, but it is a throwback to, if you didn't miss it back then, there was the previous model, which was the 16610 LV, and I'm sure if you were actually looking for this watch, which was called the Kermit back then before they moved on to the Hulk, which was the 116610 LV, which had the green dial, green bezel. It originally was a black dial with a green bezel. And if you were researching the Kermit at the time and looking to buy a Kermit at the time and you couldn't find it, now you have to pay, some exorbitant price for a used version of the Kermit. Well, look no further. Now you have the updated version of the Kermit in 2020. And you can here at JazzTime.com, we can get it for you. That's no problem to us. Whereas you might have trouble getting this from an authorized dealer, as they're pretty selective with who they sell this to. But of course, specifically if you didn't know about the previous style one, the previous style Kermit, there was also different numerations. It was actually kind of a headache to sort of deal with buying a Kermit, because there was a Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 20 million or whatever. There's just so many different variations of very minute things that could happen to each Kermit. I believe the most popular of the ones was what they called a flat 4, where the 4 on the bezel was just a flat top 4, and it was just a very unique style to the bezel itself, and it commanded a higher price versus very slight changes such as to the text or even the dial, small things with the dial. It's just very minute things. So now you don't have to worry about any of that. You can get the newest style from Rolex, black dial, green bezel, and look how beautiful that is. Mercedes styles hour hand. Long minute hand, of course. Still the maxi style dial, which has the circular hour markers fashioned in 18 karat white gold with a index marker at the 6 and 9 o'clock position. Triangular 12 o'clock position, as you would expect from your typical sports style from Rolex. But it just looks absolutely, looks absolutely gorgeous. Just having that sort of nice flat black dial with the contrasting of the hour markers being in the luminosity that's in the white, but also glows in the dark for up to 8 hours with a highly legible chroma-light display, and then sort of marked around the very outer edge with smaller indices, of course, to indicate each individual minute or second, or whichever, however you want to think about it. Specifically for the luminosity, I actually want to show you the luminosity of this watch, so I'm going to go ahead and charge up that lume, close off my lights here. And there we are. You can see very beautiful luminosity from the face of the watch. So the Submariner, known for being Rolex's flagship model of pieces, you can see very beautiful luminosity for the night. So this is what you will see at night, this chroma light display, as they call it. A blue luminescence, not a green luminescence, a blue luminescence, and it's even on the bezel itself at the period at the 12 o'clock position. So it's just a much easier to read watch at night and during the day. Of course, that was built in mind, as this is a diver's watch. That was built in mind for your deep sea diving. You had the watch in your hand and you want to take a look at the time. Your watch would be glowing and you'd be able to see that time very easily. All right. But that's pretty much it for the dial. This is the only other configuration of the Submariner. Otherwise, you could get it in the black ceramic bezel. As we move on to the bezel, you know, the standard update was on the black on black, so you can get black dial and black bezel. But now we have black dial, green bezel. So specifically for this green bezel, really the only change that they've done to this green bezel is actually it's a different hue than your previous green bezel, which was on the Hulk. This one's actually a little bit darker of a green than that Hulk green. We actually do have a comparison video of those two watches if you're interested in that, seeing the difference between, you know, the old style Submariner and the specifically the Hulk, because of course you want to see those differences in the green. I don't have it in this video, so take a look at our channel. We'll have that comparison up soon. But yes, you can see very beautiful green hue, same ceramic as well. Of course, it's going to be a unidirectional bezel as it is a diver's watch. You can see moves only in one direction, does not shift the other direction, and that's used to track elapsed time. Once again, specifically thinking with divers in mind, you can use it to track the elapsed time of your oxygen levels in your tank. Of course, unidirectional being so you don't accidentally bump the bezel back into the wrong direction and get a misreading, a misreading of that elapsed time. So only unidirectional, moves to the left. But of course, if you're not deep sea diving, as you know, most people that we've dealt with that have bought Submariner watches, you know, just usually buy it for the aesthetic of the watch. It is the base model of the Rolex, and it's just absolutely just, you know, a fantastic timepiece overall. And none of those people actually go diving. They use it for other things, such as, you know, tracking how long something's been in the oven, saying how fast they run a mile, seeing how fast they walk a mile, or even just, you know, being bored in a business meeting, tracking just how long the meeting is taking. You know, nothing wrong with that. It's just another feature on a watch that you may or may not use, but that's just something to keep in mind when buying a Submariner watch. All right. Besides that, I did forget to mention, of course, we have the date window at the 3 o'clock position. Cyclops lens still on top of that sapphire crystal for magnification, easier viewing of the date. That has not changed. That is still the same. All right. Moving on to the case now. So the case is actually where most of the changes have been. It's sort of gotten that Datejust 2 to Datejust 41 treatment. I'll say in a few of my videos. Basically, you know, a few years ago, when they updated the Datejust 2 to the Datejust 41, they did a number of sort of modifications to sort of slim down the overall aesthetic of these watches. Instead of them having a chunkier case, now we have a much slimmer casings. Mainly they slimmed down the lugs of the case, so this is much slimmer lugs of the case. On the side profile of the case, you can see much thinner case overall, along with the bezel as well. So it keeps a nicer profile overall, makes it looks much more sleek and feels a lot better in terms of overall proportion. One of the major changes though, with the specific Submariners is that they've increased it 1 millimeter overall in diameter. So from an index finger to my thumb here is 41 millimeters in diameter now, instead of being that typical 40 millimeters that you would expect from the Submariner watch. They've added that millimeter and then just simply slim down the case to slim down the lugs of the case, slim down the overall size of the case from the height profile of it. Also, of course, along with slimming down the case, you got to slim down the crown guards as well. So we have those nice slim crown guards as well. And of course, that all, you know, comes out to a nicely proportioned Submariner watch. And it looks fantastic, as you would see in like other models as well. When they first started updating the sports pieces, they originally did it with the C Dollar, which they made into a 43 millimeter, and the Deep Sea as well. But that's what they did. They've slimmed down the case as best as they can, the lugs, making it all look nice and in proportion together. One of the other main changes that on the bracelet as well, they actually increased the center link just a millimeter larger, so it just fits all in proportion. It looks absolutely fantastic now altogether. But before I move on to the bracelet, I want to go show you the crown functions as well. None of the crown functions have changed, but for those of you who are just watching this video, just because you like watching watch videos, you gotta see what a watch can do with its crown functions. So in the standard position, I've unwound this crown counterclockwise to open it up. In the standard positions where you actually can wind the watch in a clockwise manner to get the watch started once more from a dead stop. So about 15 to 20 winds is all you need to get the watch started once more. Pulling the crown out to the next position will allow you to adjust the date instantaneously as shown. Just see how quick and easy that is. And then pulling the crown out to the final position will actually stop the second 10. As you see, I've stopped it just past the 5, the 1 o'clock position. And then I'll be able to adjust the hands bidirectionally however I like. I'm going to go ahead and put that back at the 10 and 2 o'clock position. Start that second 10 once more by pressing the crown back in. And always make sure to screw the crown nice and tight in against the case, as you want to keep this watch water resistant. Specifically, as the dial even states, 300 meters or 1,000 feet. Okay. So moving on to the bracelet. So using 904L steel, which is in-house steel made by Rolex. Beautiful brush finish. Once again, this is an oyster style bracelet, as you would expect from a sports piece from Rolex. Oyster style bracelet, 3-piece links, nicely brush finish. Once again, center links have been updated 1 millimeter thicker. Clasp about the same. See, very beautiful clasp. And actually, I know it looks a little strange on the camera, but this is actually brush finish. It's actually because the this part is a little bit raised, so it gives this little contrast where it looks like it's high polished instead of brushed on the crown portion itself, but it is all a brush finish. Moving through, you can see beautiful bracelet tapered from the first link down to the back, and back to the clasp here. This is a safety folding oyster lock. As you would see on the sports piece Rolex, where this is a folding oyster. So the beginning part of the bracelet, and this would be the safety lock that sits on top to help it be nice and secure. Once again, beautiful embossment of the Rolex name onto the high polished clasp blade here. See, very, very beautiful high polish. Of course, we still have the glide lock extension link, which is this feature here. Pulling the bracelet at a 45-degree angle, you can adjust that bracelet forward, inward or outwards. I believe it's 20 millimeters in total, or about 20 millimeters in total, 2 millimeters per increment. As you can see, it has these little ridges for you to stop at. So I'm going to set it back to the center here, and there we are. So that's a very nice thing to have. If you are a diver, then of course you have the wetsuit, adds a little bit of thickness to your wrist, so you can adjust for that very easily. If you're every normal day person, and you're probably thinking, well, what use does it have for me? Well, of course it has many uses. First of all, if it's a hotter day, your wrist does swell up on hotter days. You're walking around the mall out in the blazing sun, assuming it's an outdoor mall, then you can adjust your bracelet on the fly to fit onto your wrist much more comfortably at that time. Or maybe you take a plane trip to somewhere where it's cold in the winter, your wrist doesn't expand as much, actually maybe contracts a little bit, then you can adjust for it to be even a little bit tighter as well. So very easy function to use, and you don't need any tools to adjust it at all. So it's very nice to have. All right, but besides that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the back of the case, which is right here. You can see very beautiful satin finish with a nice high polish bordering around it. The movement itself is an updated movement, as Rolex has been moving to more in-house made, rather the movements are in-house made, but using more in-house made parts is what I meant to say, as they updated this movement from the 3135, which is their 3-decade-old movement, which was tried and tested, to a newer style movement, which is the 3235, which was introduced, and I believe in 2015 on some of the Datejust 41 watches. So that 3235 movement. So what is different from 3235 to the 3135? Well, it's still a perpetual mechanical self-winding movement. So it's in-house made by Rolex. So it has that precision of -2 + 2 seconds a day, which they boast about here at the 6 o'clock position, superlative chronometer officially certified. So it's within the Swiss specs, double tested as you would expect from Rolex. Oscillator is still somewhat similar in terms that it's a paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring, which aids in resistance against magnetism, but it also has new shock absorbers called the Paraflux shock absorbers, which Rolex claims absorbs 50% more shocks than the industry standard, which was the KIF shock absorber. So shock absorbers have been changed out. I believe this one runs a Chrono G escapement now, so the escapement wheel is now made out of a nickel phosphorus and also skeletonized as well. The skeletonization of the wheel actually helps with the reduction of inertia, so it has more precise timekeeping. But not only is the timekeeping more precise, it also helps with energy efficiency, boosting that power reserve from a 48-hour power reserve from the previous movement, the 3135, to now a 70-hour power reserve, which is now the 3235 movement. So what does that mean for you, the consumer? So what that exactly means for you as the consumer is that if you don't plan on wearing your watch every day, or if you don't have a watch winder, this is assuming that you don't, then you can just simply, you can put your watch, when you put your watch down on your dresser, on your table or whatever, then it will stop keeping time after a certain amount of time. With these new energy efficient escapement and other modifications as well, now you can put your watch down throughout the weekend, pick it back up on your work day, your Monday morning or Monday afternoon, and it'll still be keeping time just fine, no problem. Whereas a 48-hour power reserve would probably run out around like Sunday, late Sunday evening or Monday morning. So that's just a small thing to keep in mind if you're looking for this model versus the previous iteration. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this watch on my wrist. So we're going to locate that folding oyster, open that up, open up that folding, adjust that on, slap, and there we are. Very easy to use watch. See, if you missed out on the Kermit originally years ago, well, here's your chance. You can get the new style Submariner with the Kermit update instead of having that Hulk update. If you didn't like that green on green, now you can now get black and green. Beautiful update to the green bezel, much darker hue now, so it looks much more much more sleek, along with the new case size, the new case size 41 millimeters. I have average man size wrist of a 7-inch wrist, and you can see fits very naturally on my wrist. Doesn't sit too high off the wrist anymore, and it's just like looks very sleek overall and in proportion altogether. So it's just an absolutely wonderful watch now. So if you're interested in this watch or any other watch for the lowest possible price, check out our website, jazztime.com. If the lowest price is guaranteed, and if you like the video, please like, comment, subscribe below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.